A few months ago, I got a sudden call from my best friend. It was a few days before Christmas. All the staff had gone home early, and he was the only one in the store. I worked there part-time, but I didn't cover shifts for other people. Then he told me that he had received a call from his mother that his sister had accidentally left her passport at home. He had to immediately rush and give it to her before her flight. So he asked me if I could watch over the bakery because there were two important customers coming to pick up their orders. I was doing nothing at the time, and the bakery was around 2 miles from my home, so I agreed instantly. I wore something decent and told him not to worry. It would take him around 50 minutes to get back. The shop too was empty, so I opened my laptop and watched some videos. I heard the door open and saw a teenager. She told me that she was there to pick up the order. As we were talking, the door opened once more, and I saw a woman in her 30s walking towards the counter. I thought it was my lucky day since both the customers were already there to pick up their orders. "Where's the owner? I don't see anybody here today," the teenager asked. I told her that everyone went home early and the owner will be back in half an hour or so after finishing some urgent business. She told me that she was a regular and well acquainted with most of the staff. I asked the teenager her name and details that she had used to book, and then I handed her a cake. The woman was being a little suspicious as she was trying to sneak on the computer screen. I thought she was just curious and didn't mind it much. After the teenager went away, I asked the lady if she was there to pick up her order. She hesitated for a second, then said, Yes, I'm here to pick up my order. It was a red velvet cake and 3 surprise boxes of macarons." I was a bit confused. I was told by my best friend that both of the orders were Black Forest cakes. He didn't mention macarons or a red velvet cake at all. I thought there must have been a mistake, so I asked for her name and phone number to check if there was an order placed. As soon as I questioned her, she told me that there was no need for that since she was the only one who made that order. I asked her to hand over the receipt that she paid after making the order. The woman was looking a little irritated and said, "I don't have a receipt. I placed the order online." We live in a small city, and most people made their orders online. If they had already made the order, they will have an order number. This was basic information. It's not something that only happens in my city. It's a universal thing. So I asked her if she had her order number, but she wasn't saying anything. She was just standing there and staring coldly at me like some sort of horrifying doll. I told her that if she wasn't willing to give any information, I would like her to leave. There was no way I was giving her anything unless she paid for it. I even suggested to her that if she wasn't telling the truth, I could get her the thing she asked for anyway, but she would have to pay for it. That was only fair. We already had the things she wanted in stock, but there was no response from her side. She didn't seem interested in buying anything at all. She was quiet for a second and then told me that she was one of the owner's friends and that she had priorly made an order through a direct call to him. I was very doubtful because my friend was a shy person who didn't make many friends. As I have already mentioned, we live in a small city. I know all of his friends and who he talks to. Plus, we were in our mid-20s, so there was no way he had an older friend, someone in their 30s, and I didn't know anything about it. Even if she was telling the truth, he was known for his professionalism. He never even offered me a discount. I had to order the cake like everyone else. I worked part-time, but I had no such advantages. He was the kind of person who did no favors when it came to his business, and this woman was claiming that he was letting her do the same. That was highly suspicious. So, I finally thought of asking her some questions that would confirm my doubts. Strange. Where did you two meet?" I asked. She thought for a second, but as soon as she saw me smirking, she instantly replied that it was in that very bakery. This was another thing that seemed like a lie. First of all, I was there every now and then. He would never be friends with his customers. That was his one single rule because too many of our friends kept pestering him to give stuff for free. Every time he made friends from the bakery, especially regulars, they would ask for a discount. This was the sole reason he stopped doing this a few years ago. Still, it wasn't impossible, but I was sure I would know something about it. I asked, "So, you must have his phone number, right? Can you tell me what's his phone number?" I knew he had 2 phones, one for business and the other for personal use. There was no way she was going to fool me. If she didn't know his phone number, there was no way she could make a call. And he would always give his personal number to friends, so it wasn't possible for her to get out of this. She suddenly became agitated and started yelling, "What? Are you doubting me? He and I have been very good friends for a very, very long time. I called him a few days ago and he told me that he will make my order. And now you're trying to accuse me? What are you going to accuse me of? Do I look like a beggar?" I was taken aback for a second. I took a deep breath and calmly explained to her that I can't help but be skeptical about the whole situation since she wasn't giving me any proof. I told her that my friend had already told me that 2 orders were going to be picked up, but both of them were Black Forest cakes. There was no mention of macarons or red velvet anywhere, and he wasn't the one to forget things so easily. She seemed antsy. She was looking at the cakes, thinking about something. And then she blatantly lied that he must have misplaced his order with someone else's. "Oh, that doesn't seem right. That happens," she said with a shrug. Karen extended her hand and gestured to me to give her the Black Forest cake. "I guess he must have done it by mistake. Just give the cake to me. I will do something about it and scold him later," she said with a visible smirk. There was nothing funny about it, and she was fooling no one. I told her that she was not making any sense. She furiously asked me to keep my mouth shut since I was just a lowly worker. "What do you know? Don't make me repeat it twice or I'll make sure you can never return. I heard you say to that girl that you were just helping out," she kept roaring in a loud voice. "Frankly, it's none of your business. I am only covering for him since he can't be here." She gritted her teeth and told me, "I can and I will. I will make sure you never set foot in this bakery house again. Enough of your smirks and your insulting comments. You are trying to insinuate that I am not his friend and I'm trying to steal a cake and some macarons? Take a look at me. I am from a well-off family. I can buy the whole bakery right now if I want it." I sneered. I was done with this conversation now. I took out my phone and dialed his number. The ring was going, but I guessed he must have been driving or trying to find his sister since he didn't pick up my call. It was terrible timing. I had a lying Karen in front of me. She gawked at my phone and I told her that since the owner wasn't picking up the phone, I wouldn't be able to help her in any way. Karen was livid and using colorful language now, and I didn't know what to say. She told me to mind my own job, and I told her that I was literally doing the job I was entrusted to. Her mouth twitched, and with bitter expression, she asked me why I was arguing with a customer when I was just a lowly worker. I smiled and told her that I was actually the owner's best friend and almost like a brother to him. I knew every single one of his friends. She was shocked, but she still didn't want to believe me. To my luck, another customer walked in right at that time and handed their receipt. Guess what it was for? Black Forest cake. Their name and phone number was right. I knew immediately that I wasn't wrong in my judgment, and this was the second customer my best friend was talking about. I gave a sarcastic smirk to Karen and said, "He has exactly prepared what he was told to. If he didn't forget their orders, why would he forget yours? Especially since you are such close friends." That snapped the little patience she was carrying. She immediately pulled my collar and said, "Why, you little..." Before she could say the last word, I spotted my best friend coming. Oh, thank the heavens. I smiled inside and asked her to tell me once more how they met. She took a deep sigh and looked like she was about to punch someone to death. Of course, I knew what I was doing. As soon as she heard my question, she screamed at me and loudly announced that she was one of the closest friends of the owner and she didn't believe that I was his best friend at all. I chuckled when I saw my best friend standing inside the bakery and listening to her. He gestured to me and asked if I knew the woman, and I loudly declared, "Oh, you will know her much better than I do." He came forward and asked her who she was. She told him to move and not get involved in their business. I laughed and said, "What, did you forget your closest friend this soon? Do you not recognize his face at all? This is my best friend and the owner of the bakery that you are claiming your close friend works in. Oh, also, I actually work here part-time, but thanks." He handed out his business card and asked what had happened. I briefed him, and with each sentence, I saw her sinking in embarrassment. He told her that if she was going to keep this up, he'd have no option but to call the cops. After that, she stormed out of the restaurant to never return. A very good friend of mine recently got on a plane with her 3 boys. 8, 9, and 10, by herself to visit with grandma for a month over summer vacation. I was on transport duty because driving to and from the airport is a young man's game, and also I love spending time with my homies. There was an accident on purpose scheduling issue. Namely, my friend wanted a day in a hotel to recuperate from the flight with her 3 boys before her mom starts driving her insane. My husband is coming up in a few weeks because he just started a new job and can't be back in a month. So I snatched all 4 people and their luggage from the airport and give them a lift to the hotel. All 3 boys are bouncing off the walls and my friend just needs a nap. So, hotel pool time. She's posted up under an umbrella and is dead to the world. I'm in pool with the boys. We started off playing Marco Polo and then had to get creative once the other folks were in the pool as well. Eventually, we settled on a game called Not Done Yet. Basically, I'm standing on one side of the steps out of the pool, and when the boys feel like it, they try and leave the pool. I decide if they're done or not yet using a complicated examination process that amounts to picking up the kid, giving them a bit of a shake, faking a big sniff saying, "Not done yet," and yeet them back into the pool. Obviously, if someone's waterlogged or actually wants out, I won't stop them. But typically, there's giggling and a bit of cue for inspection, so the game continues. I get a workout, they get tired, and everybody wins. Then, a new player enters the playing field in the form of a very sweet-looking girl, approximately 6 years old, wearing water wings. She asks if she can play too. I say of course she can, but she needs to ask whoever is watching her first so I know it's okay with everyone. She says okay and exits the pool. I'm keeping an eye on where she's going so I can smile and give the adults "I'm not a creep" wave to whoever's minding the kid. Only she doesn't run to one of the adults on the lounge chairs. She runs back into the hotel dripping wet. She disappears inside and comes back down about 5 minutes later and says, "Mommy says it's okay." Only she's not the type of kid who lies without batting an eye and is obviously fibbing. I ask if she really did, and the little girl says, well, Mommy was busy, so I think it's okay. It's at this point that the proverbial record scratches. My inner monologue says, "What?" I summon the oldest of the boys from the waterborne shenanigans and ask him to go wake up his mom so she can keep an eye on things for a minute. I need to go take care of something. While he's bearding the dragon in her den, I crouch down and tell the little girl, "We need to go inside and find an adult because it's not okay that you're in the pool all by yourself, okay? You didn't do anything wrong, but you've got some growing up to do before you can be in the pool all by yourself, okay?" At this point, oldest homie has awoken the mom, and she's now looking at me with a "what the crap" look on her face. I mouth "later" at her and then take the little girl's hand and bring her to the concierge desk of the hotel. I explain the situation with the little girl to the concierge, whose face goes from confusion to pained before giving the girl a smile and thanking me for bringing this to his attention. The concierge guy takes responsibility for the girl, and I go back out to the pool to explain what had happened to my friend. She was livid on the little girl's behalf, but mostly just wanted to resume her nap. Conveniently at that time, middle homie had gotten out of the pool and was making faces at us while we were talking. I told my friend to get some sleep. I'll watch the boys. Then middle homie got spear tackled back into the water because actions have consequences. Maybe 20 minutes to half an hour later, once I was starting to run out of steam, I sensed a disturbance in the force. A rather irate woman wearing a blouse that was inside out was dragging the little girl from before out to the pool area and demanding to know who told her she couldn't swim. The little girl was now silent with tears on her cheeks and a pathetically deflated water wing pointed at me. I was instructed to get my butt out of the pool and explain myself. Why on earth was it so hard to watch an extra child while she got some adult time to herself? Why did I insist on ruining her first chance to get away from it all in months? Her little girl is an angel and is no trouble to watch, blah blah blah. I explained that it wasn't a good idea to leave a little one in a pool with no adult supervision, pointing to a number of signs about no lifeguard on duty. All children must be accompanied by an adult, etc., etc. The inside-out lady is getting steadily more belligerent, explaining like I'm slow that her daughter knows how to swim and was wearing floaties and would have been fine. She's getting more and more in my face, trying to act like I'm just the worst for ruining everything. And then player 3 enters the fight. It's my friend, and she's fresh out of fluffs to give. She starts reading Inside Out Lady, the riot act, demanding to know how she could be so stupid and irresponsible, and how dare she try and act like I'm the bad guy here. The Inside Out Lady opens her mouth to reply and just steamrolled, "Just look at your daughter, see what you've done?" Appeared to finally get through to the woman, because she looks down at her daughter, then back up to my friend. There's a flicker of shame on her face, and then it's all rage, and she swung. I am not ashamed to admit that stepping between those two without backup seemed like a poor life choice. I stopped the boys before they could get caught in the crossfire, told them to take a step back, and when several hotel employees came out to break up the fight, I stepped in. I grabbed my friend and pulled her back, while two guys from the hotel grabbed the other woman. The combatants are separated and the police are called. Myself and my friend are back at her chair lounge with a large first aid kit the hotel staff gave us, while the boys hover and make sure mom's okay. She's sporting a magnificent shiner from the first punch and a couple of other scrapes and bruises, but mostly seems livid that she got cold-cocked like that. Police arrive and get the story from everyone, even those tangentially involved. We wind up being asked to provide contact information to the police, and my friend declines a check over by an EMT saying she's fine, just sore. The story Inside Out Lady provided didn't match up at all with what the hotel camera showed, and she got some shiny bracelet put on her before she gets shoved into the back of a squad car. My friend said she would be delighted to press charges for an assault and was told the police would be in touch. Once the police were satisfied, it was definitely time to retreat to the hotel room. I got dressed and left for the evening after making sure everybody was okay. And on the way out, I asked one of the front desk folks what happened with the woman and her daughter. The woman was arrested and the girl's father came to get her. They couldn't give me any more information than that. Hope she's okay.